The following broadcast is brought to you by Oligarchy, better known as International Republican Fuckery, or NAMBLA. Oligarchy is proud to sponsor
baby, down in my soul. You, baby, you can't take it no more. No, I know I'm walking out that door the way you treated me too many times before. Don't you know you love me, baby, too? Oh, you know I want you there, I wanna be right there with you. I know I gotta keep you by my side till the day I die. Cause baby, ecstasy is in my hand. Oh, when I'm holding yours in mine and walking in the sand. Oh, baby, you know it's fine. Oh, now you done and piss me off. You ain't done something you shouldn't have done. Baby, I'm mad. I'm going on. Oh, I'm going on.
And welcome back to the Lost Begotten 11Z's broadcast. And happy Mother's Day, everyone.
Happy Mother's Day.
And I got the camera straight here. Happy Mother's Day, baby. So, welcome to the well, while all that is still true, that is not today's broadcast. Welcome to today's broadcast, and thank you to the one person who finally made it in. Looks like we're having trouble with notifications again today.
Big surprise.
Oh yeah, I know, it's shocking, isn't it?
Look at the shock on my face. I can't contain it.
Oh yeah. So we've had, speaking of Mother's Day, a lovely week of going through my dead mother's belongings. Hasn't that been fun, dear?
I don't know if fun is quite the word that I would use, but we can go with that.
So,
Interesting.
Anybody else joins in, feel free to check in the chat comments. I was, for the past week, sort of storing energy, resting-ish. And it seems everything's going just how I thought it would be, while my hands were a little off. Like not obsessively covering every little detail of what's going on like I usually do.
Kind of been a nice break. I love you.
Why? Yeah, because you're the one who break.
You needed it.
Yeah, I needed it. But I also needed to remember how I do things. And how I do things is not what I've been doing here. What I've been doing here is trying to help you do things. It hasn't really been going so well. So, while the concept of sending donations triggered my work ethic and forced me to do regular broadcasts, the little slump in donations that we've had, and the lack of guilting me into feeling like I have to do it every 11 o'clock that rolls around. That's I don't know, increased my spiritual focus. But that's in concert with some other events that have happened. Speaking of which, why we're on a live stream right now instead of at our mother's houses, for instance. Because they both dead.
I was about to say, what's a mother's house? It's been 20...
That's where my stepdad lives.
20... Hold on, math is not my strong point. This fall will be...
Maximo.
This fall will be 26 years.
26 years.
In September.
How long ago did my mom die?
Not
2
even a
weeks
month.
now. Not even a month ago.
Hey, Maximo.
So Maximo has joined us. And says, hello, everyone. Oh, looks like the social media notifications finally got out there. Good to be seen. Thanks for joining us. I had to pull her out for Mother's Day, you know, considering.
Hey, Lacey. Happy Mother's Day.
Lacey, what's up, chick? So, I don't know if y'all heard the news, you know.
News.
But, it seems Comey don't play that. What was it earlier? She was doing a search for something about Sean Spicer.
So we were watching the SNL clips from last night, and it was the what's her name, McCarthy. Was Melissa McCarthy doing her Sean Spicer impression, and they kept doing this thing in the bushes. Well, as Sean stated earlier, we have not been divulging 100% into the news this past week with all the events that have been happening.
Divulging?
Delving, whatever. It's early. I need coffee.
There's a word that means both, but I don't think it's in English. So you were shooting at Charles there.
So I wanted to know what the hell.
Which is also not an English expression.
I wanted to know what the hell the whole Sean Spicer in the bushes thing was all about. So I pulled out my phone and trusty Google and typed in SPI. And the first suggestion that popped up was Spicer bushes. I shit you not, man. I was like, really? And the worst part about it is...
Just
like,
SPI?
Just SPI, and Spicer bushes was the first thing that it suggested. So, thank you, Lacey.
I didn't even know that was true.
But the best part about it was, apparently, how this whole thing got started was a journalist from the Washington Post claimed that he was hiding in the bushes to get away from reporters. But really, what it turned out was he was huddled with his little, I guess, aid people.
Huddled with his AIDS people.
Sorry, his aides.
Plotting the destruction of black people and homosexuals. Wait, what?
Whatever, this little congregation of people, but they were huddled near some bushes. But the way this Washington Post journalist made it out to be was that he was hiding in the bushes. So this has turned into.
I don't know which one's true unless I see it on tape. That could just be their fucking. That's we
right.
were just huddled into we weren't hiding. No, we weren't hiding.
but it.
Period.
But it killed me. SPI on Google brought up Spicer bushes, and I have not Googled this. This is the first I'd heard about it, and just I died a little inside. Like that, just SPI.
Sean Spicer is if Gollum wound up the hobbit that Smeagol killed. You know, the fatter hobbit?
I wonder if I can do it again. Hold on.
If that hobbit got the ring and became Smeagol, that would be Sean Spicer. That's my precious peril! You know, like... Fuck it, like it looks just like him.
P. What SP and it came up.
SP Spicer bushes.
SP. See, I type fast, so like that was slow.
Wait, back it up all the way and just put in S.
S will bring up sites that I've been to recently. Typed in P and Spicer bushes comes up.
Spicer bushes. Well, that's from a previous search. So where's my phone? I haven't searched for it on my phone. All right.
Just a hand in the bush. Just a dick in the bush.
I'm going to use Yahoo. Now waiting for my 2-bar Wi-Fi signal. Okay. S P I. Okay, so
Are you using your internet browser or are you using Google? I was using Google Chrome.
Yeah, this is Yahoo.
Yahoo.
Okay, so I have SPIC, Spice Girls, Spice Jet, Spicer Press Conference. Okay. Spicer Press Conference, Spicer Press Secretary, Spicer Press Conference today. So those are just arbitrary pre-programmed things. Spicer Frederick Douglass. Okay, I can't believe that SPI thing. Hold on, I want to try it. My default search engine isn't Google, so I'm going to go to Google. I'm going to type in S, SoundCloud, Split, Sears, Starbucks, P,
It did it.
The first one, I don't think it's gonna
It's
show
not
up.
gonna.
First one is spinners, and then the second one is spicer bushes. All I typed in was SPI. This is spicer bushes trending in the news. Spicer bushes. That's just got a nice ring to it, doesn't it?
You know what? I bet you that's going to be one of the top Halloween costumes this year. Somebody wearing bushes and dressed up as Sean Spicer in the bushes.
Spicer bushes? Spicer bushes.
Does ever the Spicer bushes does his...
What's he doing in the bushes? Is he peeing? No, he's just talking with interns. All right. He is the Spicer bushes. Okay. Anyways. That song was inevitable. Anyways. Forgot I can't say inevitable and do my eyebrow without, like, doing the chin stroke thing. Anyways. Just would not be prudent.
I just cleaned this floor.
Bullshit.
Bullshit, me.
A week ago.
Bullshit.
Note the many other things from the yesterday of pandemonium that we went through in this house, which is kind of in sort of like a mid-flux state where we went through the girls' closets and our closets and this little storage area, which is now a leaning tower of my mother's yarn. Like, that is all yarn now.
Oh, and don't forget my yarn. I've got a box up there and a box in there and a basket in there. And I think another box in there.
So if anybody needs anything crocheted...
Oh, everybody's getting freaking handmade gifts this year. I freaking did this. Oh, I wish we had a picture of the hat.
Please send us your addresses and number of children, stuff like that.
I wish I had a picture of the computer of the hat that I made Emily for yesterday's party. That's so freaking cute. You can pull it off my phone?
Oh, it takes way too much effort.
Oh, damn it. It's cute, though.
All right, where's...
Don't worry about it.
I don't know where the right wire is. I just had it on my feet. Alright, I want to see it. So it was all white. It was like one of them little Still With Her things with the little cat ears, and little eyes, a little nose, little whiskers. Okay, and it was all white with little black eyes and whiskers.
Black and
with purple highlighting the eyes, and purple bordered all around the edge of it. And I'm not sure. Here's her making a silly face with it on. Oh, see, there you can see it.
Oh, that actually didn't come out too bad. And so, like, the sides that I'm holding up, that's just, like, braided yarn. Like a bunch of yarn braided.
So, yeah.
That was the first time I've ever attempted that, too, so I was kind of proud of that.
Came out all right.
I got asked if it was handmade or if I bought it. I was like, I made that in like 2 hours.
Yeah, I mean, for the first one off, you know, I mean, crocheting is the kind of thing where, like, you have to get kind of like the rhythm and the feel for something after you learn how to do it. And the way she can do a one-off thing that actually still turns out right, fucking amazing. Well, you're so talented.
Sometimes after I scrap an entire one that I get almost done with it.
I mean, it takes a lot of cursing and screaming and, like, punching herself in the knee and shit like that. But
and throwing of the needle, and usually I keep.
I just figured you were punching yourself in the knee like that to keep yourself from stabbing yourself in the knee with the needle.
At least the needle isn't sharp.
I used to have that urge when I was trying to learn how to crochet.
It'd be worse with a knitting needle. Those things are pointy. These crochet needles are curvy. They're hooks.
Yeah, I realized that on the way. I think it was either to or from New Zealand when I was a kid, getting on the airplane, and they wouldn't let my mom have her knitting needles that were in her purse. I'm like, oh, it's the right. You'd kill vampires with them fucking things. Like she had them big wooden stake ones too. Like she had like every different type of fucking knitting needle.
Oh yeah, I don't know how to knit. Your sister got all the knitting stuff. I was like, because she's like, oh, I know how. I'm like,
did you see the big wooden stake ones? I was like, I used to like always when I was a kid remember where those were, just in case there were vampires, and I had to, get them through the heart because that's, one of the ways you can kill a.
Needlework requires cursing and patience. Yes, it does.
Yes.
And my sister-in-law insisted that I take cross-stitch projects home and learn how to cross-stitch. So I will be attempting that at some point. I've never cross-stitched. I have like trouble seeing.
What's up, Jimmy?
So little bitty. I don't know. They make those magnifying glass thingies. Maybe I'm just old. One of those. I don't know. It's intimidating. And then your sister was talking about, oh, well, they have the ones where they don't have the pattern printed. And I'm like, how the fuck are you supposed to do the ones that don't have the pattern printed? She's like, you count. And I'm like, count what? How do you count that? Like,
count what you did after you estimate the length.
I don't know.
And then do it again, I guess.
See, intimidating. I crocheting. I'm okay with crocheting. Got all kinds of. I can do doilies. I can do blankets. That's a lot of fucking yarn.
Kind of dwelling. Yes. Leaning tower of fucking yarn there. I think as much cursing and patience as is involved, there should be like a combination needlework and kickboxing training center where you can like crochet or knit or stitch for a while and then go just punch a big kickback. And
that would be awesome.
And then go crochet and then go punch a big kickback some more. It's like, all right, I've had it with this shit. Just get up and pop, 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 pop.
Painstaking. Nothing in my crocheting experience thus far has been more painstaking than trying to count a corner-to-corner Grafcan. The blanket I made for Joey's baby. That was the one I almost finished and messed up my count and completely said screw it and tossed it and started over again.
So anyway, that's enough. I was trying to segue out of that there.
Sorry. I like it. I like its passion.
Yeah, but it's not exactly one of them hot topics. Let's talk about different.
It's coming back.
It's making a comeback.
It's making a comeback.
Welcome back to the 80s, where we're going to go to the arts and crafts shows on weekends.
Really? You heard it here, folks. I got it recorded.
I think. So anyways, can we don't play that?
Aximo's dad's boxing instructor. It's pretty cool.
You should, but does he know how to stitch? See? Oh. So anyway. If anybody, ever noticed, despite, kind of the general channel theme, the general motif, if you will, of the channel has been pointing out that no, it's not both sides are equal. It's, actually the Democrats do better. Oh, no, Obama's not a Mason. He's actually a good person trying to, President Obama is actually a good person trying to do good things. And speaking of that little verbal tick of saying Obama, you'd have never. I mean, I used to say President Reagan, President Bush, President Clinton, and
Really?
then Bush the second came around, and he didn't seem to win. So the Democrats called him Bush. You know, that was our protest. Okay, but then to protest the fact that President Barack Obama was what? I mean, he won. He was the president. To protest the fact that he was black, they called him Obama. And now even I say, well, because basically his name sounds all Muslim-y.
Well,
you know, that was the big thing in the beginning.
I don't know, when Bill Clinton was president. I mean, like, I've never been like, oh, like, I know it's a respectful thing. You call somebody by their title.
Okay, for people who were raised in American, especially like in Republican church-going households, okay?
I was not raised American.
It was a thing.
Sorry.
That you gave respect to the president, whoever he was, especially on the Republican side.
Oh, okay.
Especially on the Republican side.
I wasn't raised American, so apparently this is
why. Like,
okay.
You know, like, especially on the Republican side, it was, you know, respect him because they're the president. And they even pulled that shit even after George Bush, you know, became the president after not really winning. I mean, it wasn't the landslide that Hillary Clinton won by, you know.
You know, it makes you wonder. Just on topic of that right quick, just a little segue if you don't mind.
Sure.
How different would America be right now had Gore actually been allowed to accept the presidency?
Right.
Like, where would we be at this very moment had Gore become president instead of Bush? It's just an interesting concept to think about.
I don't think okay. Picture the similarity in the transition between the Obama and the Trump administration. Okay. You have a situation in which Bill Clinton was after Osama bin Laden, but was unable to effectively go after him because of the Republican fuckery. Okay. Because of their interference, because of their, you know, because of the setup, because of their just...
You said Clinton?
Yeah.
Well, Clinton was busy with what was going on in Yugoslavia.
And Lewinsky. Right.
Had the blowjob, yes.
And the Republicans would support going after Yugoslavia, but they wouldn't support going after the Taliban. So then you had this transition to the Bush administration. Bush administration that ignored the bin Laden determined attack within the United States, PDB, that was delivered to the president's desk on August 16th, 2001. Okay. Now, or was it August 8th? Was it 8th or 16th? There's another thing that was on the 16th if it was the 8th. Shit. I gotta get my big old text document out. I know that's all in there. But yeah. In August, before, you know, kachu.
Is that our new word for it? Kachu?
Yeah, that's my deep monetization friendly code word. Kachu.
Kachu, that was a month later.
where America became
weird.
A different place.
Weird. Must have been.
We had a reality check that got us further away from reality. But okay, the point being, imagine the similarities. Okay, if Obama had a transition to Clinton, Hillary Clinton.
Yeah, I got it.
We undoubtedly would have a much more robust national security infrastructure right now. We would have much more continuity of government. We would have much more continuity of mission focus as far as national security actions go.
Other countries wouldn't be laughing at us.
So, okay, from there to answer your question.
Sorry.
If Gore took over from the Clinton administration, you would have had the same robust national security continuity of government minus the drama. So Gore would have actually been able to protect us better than Clinton had. And by far better than Bush. So to answer your question logically and empirically, yes, Gore would have prevented Ka-chunk-ka-chunk. More than likely, he would have not let it happen.
I saw an interesting meme on Facebook. I think it was yesterday. I was scrolling around. I don't make it unknown that I have many Republican friends on Facebook. Facebook is not my political platform necessarily. Twitter is. But one of my Republican friends posted something the other day, and it made me stop and actually read it. It was quotes from all the Republican presidents of the past, starting with Lincoln. Well, not all of them, but the majority of them, starting with Lincoln. And they were talking about all these quotes about how to actually turn our economy around and actually make our country great again. And then it got all the way to Trump. And the stupid shit about what he said about if Comey starts leaking into media, how he's going to release some tapes that he has of some conversations they had. And it said, when are we going to bring real Republicans back, or something along the lines of having real Republicans? And it really made me stop and think, because the Republican Party, since the dawning of America, has really just done a complete fucking flip-flop from what it started out as.
Well, since Nixon, basically. Since Nixon. When you think about it, there was something up about Nixon and his connections to international oil companies, not just American ones, not just good old-fashioned Texan ones. But then Texans oil companies started making deals with Russians after the Cold War ended, and that's where we got the Bush administration's fuckery from. And if you look back on history, man, it's just, you have Democrats helping the American people. The economy goes up. Income equality steadily goes up. We don't have a boom and bust scenario where there's, dramatic swinging changes in the economy that can be pointed to and bragged about. But what you have is responsible, steady economic growth based upon, regulated policy, regulated production, regulated trade, regulated chemicals, oil, medicines, healthcare, and not letting fucking greedy people steal from everybody every chance they get. That's pretty much what Democrats do. Republicans, just the opposite. They basically want policies that will allow people to steal from people, and they use moral heartstrings like abortion and stuff like that to push their agenda forward, when essentially these are issues that can be made into hot button issues by using straw man arguments and making the opposition out to be something that it's not, also known as baby killers. Most Democrats don't personally believe in abortion for themselves. They think that it's something that shouldn't be decided. It's not something that their philosophical beliefs should be imposed on other people. That being said, most Democrats still believe that within the first trimester, you should have the problem taken care of, or it should be considered a baby, no longer a problem, and you need to find an adoption or something like that. That's the way most Democrats feel. But Republicans present all Democrats as baby killers who just, what did a certain person say about Hillary Clinton when asked? That she was going around the country.
Which one when?
I don't want to say who, because you're still friends with them.
Oh, the whole late term of going around ripping babies out of you. Oh yeah, that. you could have just said Halloween. I didn't know exactly what the fuck you were talking about.
Halloween. It was on Halloween. We went over to visit some friends on Halloween.
As we do every Halloween. These are close family friends. ish at this point. But very, very big Republicans, and she claimed that Hillary Clinton was going around the country ripping 9-month-old babies out of women's uteruses.
And that's why it was acceptable to support that. Mm-hmm. So that's the kind of, I mean, basically, they rely on the powers of demons.
Ripping
okay, they rely on the powers of hyper-emotional, illogical thought. Okay, and that's what demons basically are.
Ripping babies.
I know.
Like
God.
just going around the country ripping babies, 9-month progressed babies out of women's uteruses. At 9 months, babies are supposed to come out. Just, I mean, you know.
It's just bizarre. I mean, like, where would you?
And forcing a baby to be born at 9 months is not an abortion; it's an induction. There's a big difference in that.
Where would you even hear about something like that?
Fox News.
Could it be maybe Alex Jones? Oh my God! Hillary Clinton's right. Oh my God! Yeah, that was special correspondent Alex Jones here to tell us about how Hillary Clinton was.
Are you gonna fire him anytime soon?
Doing something involving stomping on frogs. It sounded like, I don't know. Keep up the good work, Alex. You just keep doing your thing. Yeah. We'll all try to maintain our sanity.
No, that left a long fucking time ago.
Speaking of maintaining sanity, I'm really starting to wonder about Chaffetz. Okay, has he? I think he was tempted. I think he went a whoring after the whore of Babylon.
Oh wait, we didn't finish the Comey thing before we move on.
Oh, we'll get back to that.
Okay.
We're kind of into that. It has to do with Comey. Chaffetz is doing a new investigation on Comey's firing with the House Intelligence Committee. So basically, Comey has decided he wants to do a public hearing. He doesn't want to do a private hearing to do his testimony now. And it's alleged now by other sources in the FBI that Comey was seeking more manpower and money to go after the Trump-Russia collusion.
More resources.
Yes.
Which could mean a lot of things. I mean,
right.
Access to files, dossiers, complete dossiers. I mean, you know, shit like that that's gone missing. So
manpower and money.
Yeah.
Manpower is how you go get those things. Money is how you keep track of them. And of course, money pays for the manpower, etc.
Money.
This investigation had already expanded into 2 regional field offices, so it's not going away, and it's still not going away. The momentum is still increasing behind this investigation. And now Chaffetz, who, if he wants to heal the country, if he wants to restore American integrity, needs to confess that he had been misled by Russian propaganda into believing that Hillary Clinton was up to no good. And he needs to have a private, closed doors, microphone screened meeting with Hillary Clinton, or maybe even Bill Clinton, in which the actual inner workings of the Clinton Foundation and the actual goings-on of Benghazi can be fully discussed. And he can decide for himself to what degree he should repent, lest the end be upon his head. And I think he's slowly coming to realize that and trying to make baby steps to make amends, but he needs to repent, mark my words. Or this is not going to go well for a lot of people. I think he's been trying to make up for, not cover up. He's already taken, enough meandering steps, if they were meandering steps, to cover his own ass as far as investigating things that must be investigated. But for him to go public again and say he's investigating the Comey firing, I think maybe he's learned about his own transgressions. But he needs to let the public know, the American people have the right to know that his transgressions, though not indictable, and I'm not saying they should be, led to the assistance by the Republican Party of the false impression on the American people that Hillary Clinton was untrustworthy. Period. And the fact of the matter is, she was untrustworthy in a good way. And that needs to be said. She held firm to public policy, which was not to instigate international conflict during public testimony as Secretary of State, which included outing Russia in their involvement in Benghazi, which dates back decades as far as Russian sales of weapons to Gaddafi in Libya, which then gets transferred to terrorists all around the world.
Hence why so many terrorist groups use the AK-47.
And none of that got talked about during 11 hours of Benghazi hearings. And because Hillary Clinton didn't bring it up, she did her job like a boss.
Oh, yeah.
But because Chaffetz didn't bring it up, he was covering for Russia's involvement. And he needs to find a way to cover his own ass while acknowledging that, so as to rectify the situation as far as public perception of Hillary Clinton. Period. Because she's president right now. She's the one lawful elected president right now. I don't give a fuck what these group of fanciful fucks that call themselves the Electoral College, which is not a phrase in the Constitution anywhere, say. Hillary Clinton was elected president. Hillary Clinton is the president. That shit needs to be fixed, or this country's fucked.
There's a lot of shit that needs to be fixed. Can we do a do-over? Like, take everybody out of government and just start over from scratch? I don't think that's a bad idea, considering how many people are involved in this fucking spider web.
I don't think it's going to last that long. It's if Hillary Clinton doesn't get put back in, or put in, to the office that she won by 3 million votes. I mean, that's a landslide. She won by multiple percentage points.
I saw something interesting on Twitter the other day. I don't know who posted it, but it was, I think it was in Michigan, the actual voting numbers that came in, and I didn't really,
Oh, yeah, go back into that.
I didn't really read it that well, but, I kind of glanced over it as I was scrolling.
Wish Joey was here. Isn't it in your Joey text message?
I don't think so. This was one that I came across. I don't know. But anyway, so somehow in the state of Michigan, there were districts that had more votes than there were registered voters in the district. So.
And who predicted that was going to happen months before the election? All right, so there was I think there was some other ones too. Wait, hold on, let me see what I have here. Screenshotted. Ooh. Louis Mensch and Claude Taylor are reporting that a sealed indictment has been issued against Donald Trump by the Federal Information Security Act court or FISA, not NAMBLA, FISA court to serve as the basis of impeachment.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. That was yesterday. Sorry I missed that one, Joey. I was busy with my sketchbook and trying not to think about my mom. Just in general. My phone wasn't even near me. And if it was charging. So, wow. I hope that's true. That's pretty cool. So anyways, let me see if I can find, there's the James Comey letter. There's Joey losing his mind and me calming him down. I think it was too long ago that he sent me that.
Oh, I'm looking.
First satanic monument to be built on public land in Minnesota, no less. Remind you of anything? I didn't know Satanists were Muslims. Oh wait, no, I've been trying to tell people for years that. Never mind. It's the cube. That's what Kappa means. It's fucking Borg. All will be assimilated. Resistance is futile. Meanwhile, they accuse you of being the Illuminati if you oppose them. Okay, here we go. Here we go. In South Middleton, Middlesex, and Middlesex County.
Oh, there you go.
And Mechanicsburg. Exactly the same number of voters as registered, and they all went exactly 2/3 to Trump by the numbers, mathematically precise. And same thing happened in 2 districts of South Middleton and 1 district of North Middleton, and Upper Allen and East Pennsboro County. That's in Pennsylvania.
Yeah, I can't find it.
I don't know what this one is. Martin County. Oh, I see. In a whole bunch of different counties, the absentee and early voting percentages were flipped versus the election day percentages. So literally, like, okay, for instance, in Martin County, 3,460 votes for Clinton, early voting and absentee. 2,598 votes for Trump, early voting and absentee. On election day, it's basically the exact opposite. 3,288 votes for Trump, 2,371 votes for Clinton. So less votes on election day than absentee and early voting, and flip the opposite way. but the percentages were 57-41 on election day and 42-56 early voting. That's crazy. And in Martin County, by the way, there are 3,363 registered Democrats. There are 10,542. Excuse me. Registered Republicans. There are 3,363 registered Republicans. Sorry, poor place to misspeak. There are 10,542 registered Democrats. So this county, 61% registered Democrats of the total population, 19% Republican. 61% Democrat, 19% Republican. But it went for Trump, even though the absentee early voting shows exact opposite of what election day shows. Very interesting. And here we have a public service message from your local health clinic. Sorry, your insurance has been dropped, but nice hat, MAGA. Anyways. So, that's very interesting. Thanks, Joey, for them screenshots. Yep, 2/3 one way and then 2/3 the other. It's fucking crazy. So anyways. Please continue. Oh, hey, Carlos. Didn't see you there.
Hey, Carlos.
Please continue using the hashtag nothing else matters. Joey thought that nothing else matters made it into the SNL broadcast. I don't think so, but they did, however, repeatedly use my little the little 80s record thing joke, and then the headline, like, that was pretty fucking well done on their part. Yeah, funnier than I did it, obviously. But I think, despite the fact that they can't really claim fair use of that and insert that into a line on SNL because it's, a copyrighted song, I think by Sony or whatever, Metallica. If enough people start tweeting that hashtag and it, becomes a conversation, a new conversation centralizer about how widespread the Russian Republican collusion and fuckery is, then the copyrightness of it will be an advantage as far as algorithmic blocking goes. You're welcome. So that's why we're going to use that.
Damn.
What you got, babe?
Oh, I was looking at these numbers from Martin County, North Carolina, and
yeah, that's what I was just doing.
That was the one you were just doing. Mm-hmm. Did you notice how many people voted for Trump? It's like 58,000 or 5,800 people voted for Trump, but in Martin County, there's only 3,300 registered GOP.
Yeah. His total votes, including absentee and election day, would be
absentee,
about
early voting, and election day.
Yep. So what's going on with the monuments, babe?
So
speaking of Black Cube monuments.
There
I guess we should
was
update y'all on the New Orleans monuments.
there was a big hoo-ha over who actually owned the Beauregard statue, whether it was because it's in City Park, and there was a big debate whether the city of New Orleans actually owns City Park or somebody else did or the people did. I'm not quite sure what the other side of that was, but this week, just the other day, I think it was Thursday or Friday, a judge ruled that the city does own City Park, so the monument came down. Still angry protests, still...
That's what I said, man. Like, as soon as I heard that shit about they're trying to say, oh, you can't own that because the city doesn't own that, City Park owns that. I'm like, that's the stupidest shit I've ever heard, because the city owns the city park. It bought it from the private landowner in like 1890 or some shit like that. So yeah, sweep that shit under the rug, brush that shit off, whatever you got to do. Your feelings ain't needed.
It's just, it's ridiculous when you get right down to it. It's a distraction. That's all the fuck it is. It's a distraction from what's really going on. I don't know. I mean, I get that it's an issue, but it's a stupid issue at this point. In the greater scheme of things, this is fucking retarded.
As long as it's part of a multi-pronged effort to correct the bullshit history that creates
part of
the
what
propagandized rebellion around here.
Part of what bothers me about the removal of the monuments is how much money it's costing the city.
Right.
Our state is fucking broke.
Right.
This is a stupid fucking thing to be spending the money on. I think it would have been cheaper
to do, like old boy said, as funny as it is.
Rename them.
Just...
Nobody knows who the fuck these people are. And most of these monuments were put up in the 20th century. I mean, I don't... It's a fucking statue.
And not so as to delude yourself into thinking that nobody could then go and look up that history. Okay?
Right.
Not to think somebody's going to go there and see that is this, labeled by what it is, not who it is. Okay? It's still going to have the same purpose as far as teaching about history. What you would do if you just renamed them is you would intentionally deface it without adding visual pollution, okay, without adding an eyesore to the community. So you get to have the decoration without the intent of the bad people who put it there. Okay, so you deface it as far as what their intent was while making it better for yourself.
The other thing.
Right? Does that sound like a reasonable solution?
It does. And the other thing, too, is not only are you wasting the money to tear it down.
Statues.
Not only are you wasting all that money to tear it down, but think of all the money you wasted putting it up to begin with. And all that money was apparently for nothing. To put up those statues, and now it's just being torn down. No.
Statues are for people who want to be reincarnated in the same positions and the same power structures. They want to solidify their place in the world and bind their souls to it. Anyway.
But it's stupid. It's stupid, and it's being made a big deal of, and it's just one more thing to divide and conquer people. It's finding the stupid things that irritate people and forcing them to fight about it. That's all the fuck it is. I don't remember it being a big issue 10 years ago. Do you? When we lived there? Do you remember that? It ever being a fucking issue with the statues being there? It was just fucking statues that were there.
Nope, nobody cared.
Nobody gave a shit.
On either side.
And you can't make me think that this isn't a divide and conquer tactic. Having grown up there, and we took field trips down to the French Quarter and all that shit all the fucking time. Every year it was a fucking field trip down there. Never once was it a problem.
So, speaking of city projects gone wrong, Circuit of the Americas. Let's talk racing. They just had the IMSA sports car race there, which is like all the prototype classes and the GT Le Mans, really fast cars. Turn 1 comes after this really high speed, very flat section, and it's like an angle like this with the track around it like that. Okay? and all the cars have to hit on their brakes, and there's no runoff room off this way. Okay, it's stupid. It's dysfunctional. It doesn't work. It's retarded. It's a poorly designed racetrack, and something needs to be done about that corner. First corner, as soon as the race starts, 5 cars crashed into each other. And I don't really recall a single race at Canada where there's not at least some contact on turn 1. See, this is the perimeter of the racetrack, and it needs to have a turn that's more like this, okay, because they don't have the runoff area over here, because over here is downhill. So there's literally nothing they can do about that unless they build it up right there. So they just need to make the fucking straightaway shorter and make the turn sooner so it can be more broad so they have less speed going into it. I mean, it's not a hard fix, and every time I look at that fucking track from the overhead helicopter view, it's an eyesore. So that's my insight. And speaking of insight, the 99 Honda Insight. The little car with the little small back wheels, right? Good car. One of the weird things that made me realize just how off the cheat codes were when reality changed in 2011, okay, was the magnetic sequencing technology that the first Insight uses wasn't used by the second Insight. And in this reality, it's that way, but in the previous reality, it was reversed. And in that reality, I invented it. Like happenstance invention. I thought of it, and then years later, it came out. Okay, but then like in this reality, the same series of memories happen, but then I find out that it was the one that was invented in '99, and I was way late instead of 2 years early. So it was sort of an embarrassing, humbling kind of experience. And I just thought it was a weird, odd thing to try to explain and sound like a dumbass. So, and scene.
Sorry, I was...
Oh, what's up, Danny? How's it going, man?
The Georgia Guidestones, I was looking those up.
Oh, yes, Alex Jones. One of his original false flags. Okay, Alex Jones is the false flag perpetrator. That's all you really need to know about, like, as far as like a key to unlocking all that bullshit and just letting it fall out before you so you can see it for what it is. Okay, the Georgia Keystones, that's not UN shit. That's not American shit. That's what the Klan, that's what the Republicans want. That's what they were trying to use the UN for. Okay, and that was coming from the far left, but then the whole far right takeover came as a response to its failure with the, what was it, Agenda 21, and now it's called, what was it called, Article 21 or Agenda 21? And the similarities between that and the Georgia Guidestones led to Alex Jones's conspiracy and the Illuminati and the New World Order, blah blah blah. But you can, work backwards and find out none of the other shit that he said was true, and find out who was really behind such things in the beginning, and you can trace the prevalence or preference of left-wing propaganda versus right-wing propaganda, who was being blamed for what at the time versus who's being blamed for what now, etc.
Alex Jones's whole thing was because of the first thing that's written on those stones, with his whole belief of the New World Order controlling world population. Because the very first thing that's written on this guideline thing is maintain humanity under 500 million in perpetual balance with nature. Guide reproduction wisely. Oh, these are weird. Unite humanity with a new living language.
But I mean, they were basically put there. I mean, they could have been put there by Alex Jones, basically, is what I'm saying, to make a fuss about. All right, their similarities weren't coincidental. They were there to make a fuss about Agenda 21. But as far as who might have been trying to sell that plan to people within, the corrupt sides of government and media, again, it used to be the far left. Then over this same time period in which he was making these accusations, it became the far right. So anyways, let's see what Alex Jones has to say about it. Oh, yeah, there's a Jordan. They got these carbies all over. I got these carbies. They're going to carve us all just like the Stones. Okay. It's not very inspired, Alex. Maybe you should work on that a little more. So, thanks for the Guidestone comments. Yeah. I used to have the Agenda 21 PDF. I don't think it's on this hard drive here. Sure? But it's probably on an old one. Yeah, I didn't copy it over. Well, I copied it over and then I deleted it to make space because I just fucking lost interest in it. I had to hold on to the original 9/11 report though, just because that was something I had to hold on to. Do not trust anyone else's copies. Must have my multiple copies everywhere. Copies everywhere. Copies.
Copies of copies of copies.
Okay.
Child in the kitchen.
Child in the kitchen. Just making sure it wasn't like a fish tank. Just psh, spring leak everywhere. And speaking of fish tanks, I'm going to get back to my little design process because I've built a modular 8-foot system based on what we learned with our little where is it? Not that one. Not the one. Where's a view of the... Oh, there we go. So here we go with the 10-gallon tanks at the bottom. And I'm gonna... No. That's before they were turned sideways. So eventually they got turned sideways, like that, down there at the bottom. So I'm going to build racks 8 feet wide with basically a bottom row of 10-gallon tanks. And kind of 20 gallons on top. It's going to work out at a 7-to-3 ratio within 8 feet. Bless you, baby.
Thank you, sir.
In our little Simply Reef store. And still looking at the same location. And I'm just expanding on my profit loss projections. And if you haven't seen it, I did do a broadcast on how to set up a saltwater aquarium and some important, basic tips on how to get it done without aggravating yourself. Lighting, temperature, current, evaporative top off, nutrient depletion, filtration, and don't be a moron. It should be okay. And the store is going to focus not on what usually people focus on when they build a store, is what they want to do, what they like. We're going to focus on beginners. We're going to focus on making the hobby easy for people who want to get into it for the first time. And we're going to try to attract people with our pretty little flood-proof building. And maintain or achieve early profitability by having very low cost, very high productivity for a very small, efficient location. I like so. And we're going to be living behind it in that trailer back there. And hopefully one day affording to be able to build a couple of extra trailers on the lot to house people in need. Anyways. So, that is what I'll be working on through the rest of most of time in general. And thank God for the mute button. Once again, happy Mother's Day. And, you know, looking all that crap and knowing that it's in my living room, you know, I love my wife. Hey. So, wait, what the fuck? Why is that? Oh, because I'm pressing the wrong button. That would be why.
Your wife loves you.
My wife loves me. And happy Mother's Day, everyone. And thanks for your questions and comments, as usual. Thanks for joining us. And check us out on your link at 11sies. I'm going to try to start doing broadcasts more. Thank you for anybody who's planning on sending contributions soon. We are still looking for job markets, and thank you to everybody who has sent contributions for your continued support. Please. What's it?
I have a good potential for a job, but if this job hands out, it's going to be like another 2 weeks.
Yes, we've done second interviews on the one that I think the force is with. So hopefully she'll get that job. But I know y'all want to see her more on here. So yeah, you know what I'm talking. You know what I'm trying to say. You know what I'm trying to say. Y'all click the like button, share the video. Thanks for watching. Thanks for being you.
Keep on keeping on.
Follow the bouncing thumb. Tell me forward. Okay, we got it.
In my heart, and baby, now